GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Talking about Vegas.
Yes. You're coming to Vegas, right? Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show...
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has been down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent up here's wearing a vest.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Terry Lynn from the G&T Show, and this is the Personal Trek project, and we are welcome to have we go cookie, cupcake, or cookie? Just cookie?
Either way.
And we're going to be discussing and asking you your personal Trek. What's your story? How did you first get involved in the Star Trek world?
Well, I grew up watching The Next Generation. I remember, when I was really, really young, the original series, but mainly The Next Generation. And I loved it. I loved the stories. I loved the cast. I loved Will Wheaton at the time, which I've grown out of that, but I used to try to look up his name in the phone book. I never dialed the number, but I would look his name up. And I lived in Minnesota, so of course there were Will Wheatons, but it wasn't, but I was young. Anyway, I really enjoyed it, and I kind of stopped watching it when I was a teenager,
right?
And then restarted in my early 20s, and I just haven't stopped watching it.
No, was it Star Trek The Next Generation that you started to watch again?
Yes, The Next Generation.
And did you do a full rewatch, or were there just specific episodes that you were drawn to?
Full rewatch. And then when I got Netflix, I watched every series. So from Enterprise to the last one, was it Deep Space Nine or Voyager? Yeah.
And what is your favorite series?
The Next Generation.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character?
Data. Brent
That's
Spiner.
the second one today?
Yeah.
That is the second one.
I can't get enough of it.
Now, is it the sexual?
It is very sexual for me, yes.
I love it. I know, Nick's giving her the look, but Nick, you haven't read the fan fiction. I have, and I understand what I'm
She reads, yeah.
I read the fan fiction. I get it. I understand. He's dreaming.
Yeah, he is.
And he's the ultimate sweet guy, right?
I like him personally, too. His personality. I love his sense of humor. I know he can be a jerk to some people, but...
I will say now on the record, I have only had amazing, wonderful experiences with my personal interactions with Mr. Spiner.
Yeah, me too.
So sweet. And if you're running across him and he's a little rough around the edges, he's probably done something to cause that.
Well, a lot of it's his sense of humor. I mean,
Right.
It comes across as if
he's a very acerbic man, but he's very funny.
And you just have to understand his sense of humor.
Now, as far as Trek goes, it's had different effects on different people's lives. Did you come out of the geek closet, as it were, or were you always kind of an open geek?
I don't think I was aware that it was geeky.
Really?
To like Star Trek. It just never really occurred to me that it was that, I guess, considered... I don't know. I mean, it's held in the future, and it's awesome, and it's just, I guess sometimes people view it as a negative thing to be geeky or whatever, but I just didn't put it in that category, I guess, so.
Well, I'm finding with a younger generation now, particularly early 20s or so, because of shows like we were talking about Big Bang Theory or the JJ movies or the proliferation of the Marvel movies, it's not like it was when Terry and I grew up, where...
We're much older than you.
And Terry will tell you, when I kind of wrote my blog about I Am a Geek, it was a big deal for me to open up and say that.
So how did you get involved with Priority One?
Well, okay, it all started with, I went, let me backtrack quite a bit. I went to a con to see Brent Spiner. I didn't know what conventions were, and I didn't know anything about them, but I knew Brent Spiner would be there. And so I went there, and that was my first con, and I dressed up in a Starfleet uniform. And then I met a nice guy, Cam Wilkinson of Fleet31.com, joined the fan group Fleet31, and then through the fan group, I learned about Star Trek Online, and then I started playing about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And then while I was playing and getting more involved with Star Trek Online, then I found out about Priority One, and I hadn't listened to it for very long before I came in contact with these guys, and the rest is history.
I was going to say, and the rest, they say, is history.
Now, we have some questions that we ask people. Do you ever watch Inside the Actors Studio?
Yes.
Okay, we have our Lipton questions, but in our own style.
Okay.
If you were given the chance as an author or a screenwriter, CBS and Paramount said,
come to you,
and said, you may kill off the canon character of your choice, and it will stick. Who would you do it?
Of the whole franchise?
The whole franchise.
Oh. I really like a lot of the people that are in
That's
Star
okay.
Trek.
Sometimes you have to kill off a character you love.
I will tell you about the answer we got earlier that blew our mind.
Very interesting.
I never liked Cisco.
I love when you stuff you never liked Cisco.
Never liked Cisco.
She can leave now.
I mean, I liked his character, but I don't know.
Do you think that his death would serve a purpose in a story?
No, I just wanted him dead. No. I don't know. I've just never been a fan of what's the guy's name who plays him?
Avery Brooks.
Avery Brooks. I guess it was. You know what it was? Okay, it was the first few episodes of the show. His laugh. And I was like, why did they cast this guy? He can't act. Oh God, please don't hate me, everybody. No.
We would never. It's all a personal opinion. You are never.
No. We got an answer earlier that the person would kill off Will Riker.
Oh.
Because the effect it would have on the rest of the crew and the series, and the emotional impact. It doesn't have to be about, I just want to see this person dead. What would tell the best story?
And we liked it.
Well, yeah, no, I don't have.
And Terry already thinks that Cisco's a deadbeat dad, so don't feel.
No, but he did get better as the show went on. So
once he shaved his head, right?
He does have some good value and everything.
Because bald guys rule.
The first couple episodes, they just ruined it for me with him, and I saw an interview with him.
Oh, he's nuts.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
So the other question that we have now is, what is your favorite episode?
Probably Data's Day. It's all about Data.
That's fun. It was a good episode.
And it's a very fun episode. Lots of humor in that episode.
This is the one where the O'Briens get married.
Yeah. And it's from his perspective.
Honey, I'm home.
Yeah.
No, that was something else.
That was Data's Day, wasn't it?
No,
Are you referring to when he had a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different one. But I like that one too
because that's very data intense.
It's very data intensive. Yes, it was the one where he goes through an entire day, and from Data's perspective,
it was like Dear Doctor. Yeah, it was like Dear Doctor.
I have good news.
You have good news. She has good news.
I'm just quoting from that.
Oh.
She has canceled the wedding.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I love that. It's so funny.
I'm so tired.
I'm tired and hungry. I'm going to eat after this.
Well, and then our next question is, now that you are involved in Priority One and know what it's like to be in front of a microphone and you understand the nature of how it goes about, the editing process and everything like that, what is it about when you hear yourself on Priority One that you kind of go, that's my personal thing, it drives me crazy, I need to learn how to, because for me, I need to learn how to finish a sentence.
Terry also starts everything with, everybody knows, and then she's telling me something I didn't know.
That is very true. So what have you learned about podcasting, about yourself, and about how it has made you a different person than before you started?
Well, I've never liked my voice, the sound of my voice, my speaking voice, and so I still don't like it. And I'm surprised that they want me on the show because it's not a very easy voice to listen to. But I wish I could change that, and I wish I could be more like Elijah. Because I think he's just got it. He's just such a pro, and he knows how to handle interviews, and he knows how to form sentences without having to read them. Well, sometimes he can't, but yeah. I would like to be able to just... See, I can't even think of what I want to say right now.
Were you shy before?
I'm probably just the same as I am now before. I don't think I've changed that much, except for wanting to better myself in certain ways, but I haven't done it yet, so.
And our final question is, what is it in your opinion that makes Trek so lovable and loved that it has lived for 50 years and will continue on? What is it about Trek that you think has kept it alive for so long?
I think because it's another aspect of the way it could be if things were better. There's no money, there's no greed, there's great health care, and it's a nice place to go to think about, wouldn't it be nice if things were like that? And I mean, there is some conflicts and everything still in Star Trek, but it's peaceful. It's a peaceful place for me. I put in an episode when I'm stressed out, and it just takes my mind completely off of whatever was bothering me, and it's nice. It's soothing. It's a soothing show, and I like it.
And if you were given the opportunity or to bring somebody who has never seen Star Trek before, what episode or movie would you sit down and say, this is the best representation of Star Trek?
Oh gosh, I've done that many times, but I'm sure I did not pick the best episode to represent Star Trek because I usually start them off with Naked Now, which is the second episode. I like to start them off, kind of in the beginning, but not with the first episode, because the first episode is
utterly adorable.
I like you guys. You both did basically face palm, double face palm.
I know, but I loved that episode. I think that was such a funny episode, and it's in the beginning. I don't know. That's the one I usually start with.
I think that's adorable. I really do. Well, Cookie, thank you so much for joining us here at the G&T show. We appreciate you sharing your personal Trek story, and we wish you all the best in the future and with Priority One.
Thank you.
Joel Untrue. Joel Untrue, citizens.
And this is Terry Lynn from the G&T show.
And this is Gettysburg 7. And we are sitting with, once again, wow, I screwed that up, but we're going to continue going with What's Your Story?
It's always the personal Trek project at the G&T show, and we're here with So What's Your Story? With Elio, or as we all know,
Elijah.
I'm like Elliot. So when did that happen?
I don't know. Everybody always confuses me with Elliot.
I know you as Elio, and my whole life goes as Elliot.
Elliot's the tall Scandinavian-looking guy. That's Elliot. He looks like he just got off a Viking boat and was ready to pillage.
He doesn't have the furred horns on the head.
No. I wouldn't put it past him.
Well, welcome to the personal Trek story, and we are interviewing everybody in celebration of Star Trek in the preparation of the 50th anniversary of Star Trek in 2016. And we're getting together everybody who we know and love, and even the people who are strangers who are new to Star Trek or have been around Star Trek. You don't come to conventions unless you have a passion for this television show.
Absolutely.
And we want to know, what was it that hooked you? What was it that made you the Trek fan that you are? What show made you a fan? What person? Why?
Tell us, what's your story?
I know, my story. First, thank you for sitting down and letting me talk with you guys and converse Trek with you. You guys know that, we love you very dearly, Terry. You're such a great person to work with. Gettysburg, you too, man. You're amazing. You're a riot, dude. And for Mike that wasn't able to be here, Mike,
we miss you.
I miss you, man. It's not the same without him. Man, what got me into Trek? I remember the earliest memory of Trek was being like a preteen or maybe like 9. I thought even call it, that's not preteen, that's a child, and watching The Next Generation. And I think I wasn't aware of how sucked in I was getting, because every time it was on, I would stop whatever I was doing and watch it. But like when it was off, I didn't think to myself, "Oh, when's the next episode?" Not at first. And then during the summer, this is when I live in the New York metropolitan area, so TNG would be syndicated on WPIX, Channel 11, WB now.
Home of the Yankees.
Yeah, home of the Yankees. And during the summer, they would do like late night marathons of it, and it would play from like 12 or 1 on. And I remember during the summer staying up really late, just watching Star Trek: The Next Generation and watching them in syndication. So I grow up, and I forget about it, and it's I know that I like it, right? But I just never aggressively pursued watching it until I got to college. So I got to college, and what does anybody do that's at college? They don't want to study, so they want to do other things. And my other thing was Star Trek. So I started buying the DVDs of The Next Generation, so the sets, and I would order them on eBay. They were cheap on eBay. I was like, all right, let me start. And then I would binge watch them on DVD. And I was with a bunch of roommates at the time. We had a house, sort of like an apartment, 2-story, and it'd be living room time, and I'd be watching Star Trek, and they'd sit and watch it with me, And as I purchased more of the DVDs and watched them more, it just became more in my blood, in my being, and I was appreciating it more and enjoying it more. And so I was done with TNG, and I was like, oh man, all right, so let's move on to the next one. And I moved on to Deep Space Nine. And Deep Space Nine and Voyager, Enterprise, and then I went back to do the original series, and that's hard for me because sometimes I'm that kind of guy that's like, if it's too, I do appreciate classics, like Bringing Up Baby is one of my favorite Cary Grant movies. It's one of my favorite ones. But being that you're going from Next Generation, and the special effects are newer. You go back to the original series, but you know what? I enjoyed the original series, and I ate it up. Now, I don't know if I want to admit this, but I'm not the type of Trekkie that can name an episode. But I'm not like that with I'm like that with anything. Fringe, I'm a huge Fringe fan, but man, even sometimes I'll forget the name of characters on Fringe. Like my brain just doesn't hold on to it.
Because that's not the specific information that's important to you.
Right. So college, and then I was actually a huge fan of the Matrix series. That I can tell you, like every name, every story, I can tell you all about it. Shut up. I'm leaving. This interview's over.
I'm done.
Throws the mic. Just threw the mic down and is walking away, ladies and gentlemen.
Huge fan, and I prepped, and I started getting into MMOs because the Matrix Online was being developed. So by I forget the name of that, Monolith Studios, and then they got bought out by Warner Brothers. Anyway, it's a whole new story. I digress. But I got into MMOs, and so to prep for the Matrix Online, I started with City of Heroes. So that was my introduction to Cryptic. That was my introduction to Cryptic. And Cryptic, and I loved City of Heroes. I really enjoyed it. I loved pugging with random players, getting into dungeons, making new friends, getting an understanding of what the MMO mechanic was. And then I started playing the Matrix Online. And I was in the Matrix Online, very active. They had a strong role-playing community. The developers had live events teams, so Morpheus would show up in the middle of one of the big plazas and tell the story, and the story kept progressing. Then they put a kibosh on the Matrix Online, and I find out that Perpetual's doing, Star Trek Online. So I'm like, oh, this is exciting, and I'm already, involved with the Matrix Online. I was a fan of City of Heroes, so I kept a close eye on Star Trek Online. I got involved with when it was now with Atari, and they had the forums open. Not Atari, it was Ubisoft. when Ubisoft had the forums open, I was there, and I joined a fleet, Lotus Fleet at the time, and I got really involved with them and met up with them at conventions. And then conventions. My first convention was in 2008. I forgot about that. My first convention was in 2008 in Secaucus, New Jersey. And I remember going. Side story. I remember going.
We call them squirrels.
Yes. I remember going my first, because we're here, I have to tell the first convention story. I remember going to the first convention in Secaucus, New Jersey, back in like 2008. This was even before Matrix Online, anything. I mean, Perpetual, and me even hearing about the MMO. I'm ready to go to a convention. I want to go. And I go and I bought the captain's package, and I went all out. I was going to go, and I was going to enjoy it. And I met some people. I was at the captain's table dinner, and I met, friends that are here now that I'll bump into periodically. One woman, actually, that I just saw, she's from Brooklyn, New York. And I was like, good to see you again. She remembered me, and I was like, it's good to see you. It's good to see you again, because, you're the first person I really ever spoke with.
That's kind of cool. That's really
at a convention.
Cool.
And she's like, oh, what are you doing here now? What's all, the whole press thing, what's all that about? I was like, I've grown up in the 6 year, however long it's been now. We have our own podcast, and we're engaged in the community and creating content. Things have changed, and she's like, I remember when you, were this bashful little shy kid at the first convention. But, she was explaining how much she loves being at the convention and being able to share in the experience with so many people. And same thing with another guy that we were at the table with. I mean, I remember being really nervous that first time. I was really like, hi, I don't know where do I sit? I didn't know where to go.
How long did it take you? When I went to my first, it was Shorely in Baltimore, and the author David Mack had invited me. And I walked in, and in about 10 minutes I realized, I'm home.
I'm really a nervous person. Like, I really am, like, shy. Yeah. I'm really very shy. Like, when I'm in an environment with new people, I'm not lying. When I'm in an environment with new people, I'm usually the wallflower. Up until, like, the last 10 minutes. For whatever reason. It's like the last 10 minutes, I'm like, fuck this. What's up, everybody? And, sorry, you can leave that out.
No, we don't.
That's right, yeah. No, we have to leave that out. For whatever reason, I'm like that guy at the last 10 minutes. It's like, where the hell did this guy come from? So the convention, it happened that way. I was very like, hi, how you doing? And like the last day, I was like, hi, how's it going? Where are you from? And I wanted to get to know these people. And same thing with like when I was in China a few weeks ago. I was like, quiet at first. I was like, China, I gotta do something. Let me eat baby scorpions. Like that's. So I do. I start going. Yeah.
Picture of eating scorpions, dude.
I did the conventions every year. I didn't do the captains. I learned quickly not to do the captains after that. And I went every year. I think I missed maybe 1 year. And so going back to the whole MMO thing, right?
Right.
I'm involved with Lotus Fleet. Meet up with my fleet at the Persephone convention. That was fun. The first time being there and getting involved, and then Priority 1 happens. And that's when everything just went downhill. Because, my wife would say that.
Your wife is adorable.
Thank you.
I don't want her looking at my checkbook, though. I remember last year at the dim sum place.
She's
good.
She's a financial guru. But yeah, I mean, Brandon had put out. I remember with Lotus Fleet, I was thinking to myself, man, we should do why don't we do a podcast, Lotus Fleet? Look, I even have a whole draft, and I put up a whole proposal and everything. But they didn't bite, and then Brandon had the auditions, and yeah.
And for those of you who maybe are listeners and are listening to Elio speak right now, Brandon was the former community manager at Cryptic Studios, but before that, he was the host of Priority 1 podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon and Mark back in the day, and DJ Drew with the gossip. But we did the auditions, and James Lee and I were picked to carry on the baton, and Elliot Tan, of course, as our producer, were carried on to do to continue on Priority 1, and it's been history ever since. I will say this, is that it gets crazier and crazier every year.
It really does. It really does.
Crazier every year.
Well, we're about to hit you with our James Lipton questions.
All right, go ahead.
If given the chance to write a script or a novel,
okay,
and you are given the green light by CBS/Paramount, to make it stick, it's canon, to kill a Star Trek character, major, main title character, who would you kill?
For starters, it would be
so cute.
To begin with, it would be a musical production.
I like it.
Riker would kill. He's got that rich baritone voice. Jonathan Frakes.
Yes.
I have a man crush on him. I'm okay with saying that. That's cool.
Love him.
And actually, my wife has a crush on him too. She plays the trombone, and so yeah. So Riker would kill Data.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's very Shakespearean. That's very Shakespearean.
Riker would kill Data.
I like it.
Yeah.
Or very Hugo. That's also very Hugo.
Yeah.
Very good. I like it. In a musical.
In a musical format.
Who would be the tragic last character to do the final, monologue?
I think the epilogue would be read by Picard. I think.
Oh, he'd have to.
Yeah. He'd have to.
Or Deanna. Or Deanna.
You know what? Speaking of Deanna Riker, I just listened to the Imzadi audiobook with Jonathan Frakes reading it. It was like a 5-hour ride, and I listened to it. It was freaking hilarious with how he interprets Marina. It was really funny. But man, I love him more for it. I really do love him more for it.
Well, we're good.
One more. We're a couple more questions. What are you talking about? Oh my God.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much for having me. This has been a fantastic experience, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5-Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
G&T Show is a Busy Little Beaver production.
Some dude walks out, proceeds to explain what it's all about. I sure want to leave. I think you'd agree, but we cannot leave till we find out what it's all about. It's all make-believe, nothing is permanent down here. It's just an amusement park. Bones is now alive, so it's okay for him to say, I'm a doctor, not a shish kebab. Apparently it's okay if we trust an unknown race who can read any one of our thoughts. So be careful what you wish for in this land of dreams come true, 'cause you just might get what you want. I sure want to leave. I think you'd agree, but we cannot leave till we find out what it's all about.